for the others that are there too, if you guys saw our demo at all when we launched this yesterday or any of the videos we put out this morning. Have you guys seen any of that?
Oh, cool. She says she's signing in now.
Hey, Jen.
Jennifer, hello. Hello, hello, hello. So, guys, while we're waiting here for a second, give Debbie a little bit of time to sign up. Jennifer was probably, well, she was the reason that Chris and I ever connected because Jen is a like rock star print on demand seller, like very, 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 very good. She's one of my students, and she had so many personalized orders she couldn't keep up with it, and so we were looking for a solution. Chris heard our cries and hooked her up with AnywherePOD and like changed everything for her very quickly. So I'm glad you're here, Jennifer. Um, so Hillary says, I do feel for you both. Facebook single-handedly has turned my hair gray in the last 6 months. Yeah, reach has dwindled to next to nothing. Yeah, Facebook is very frustrating. Very, very frustrating. Okay, let's get going. I think, yeah, Deb, you'll be able to follow along. I think even if you're just listening, it's like this, what Chris is about to share is so intuitive that you'll be able to follow along. All right.
Cool. Should I share and we get started here?
Yeah, let's
Alrighty.
go.
Let me get my screen share pulled up here.
All right. Oh, we got a few more people. Awesome.
Cool. Hey, yeah, Phil's joined us here. Cool. Okay, so for those that haven't seen this, I guess a little bit of kind of a backstory first. So, like the whole goal that we have with Anywhere POD is to really try to make automate as much of the processes that we can for you. Not only on the order side of things, obviously with being able to automate personalization, but we're also continuing to try to streamline the product creation process to make it as easy as possible for you guys to create products, whether it's a personalized product or even just kind of your standard print on demand product. So, um, a little bit of, by the way, Anna, did you want to record to send out a replay?
It is recording. I'm just doing it over
Oh,
Loom.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
gotcha. Okay,
We're good.
awesome.
Yeah.
Um, cool. So, that's kind of going way back why we're Anywhere POD instead of something like Personalize Anywhere or something like that, right? So, because our goal is more than just a personalization app. And this new Canva integration, I think, is a big step kind of towards that goal. So, what you're able to do now, instead of, so kind of the old way, or it's kind of funny that we call it the old way now, having to download a PNG, right? But old way, you would go to Canva or whatever design software you're using, build your design there. You have to make sure it's in the right dimensions, everything's the right size, and then download that as a PNG. If you're not doing personalization, then come over to your print provider and upload that PNG to be able to create your product. If you are doing personalization, there's even more steps than that because now you're designing in Canva. You need to put in your personalization layers so you can make sure everything's kind of designed and lined out the way that you need it. But then before you download the PNG, you have to delete those personalization layers, download the PNG, upload to Anywhere POD, and then duplicate that work that you just did of adding in the personalization layers. So basically now all that is gone, and each one of those steps you can now do with just the click of a button in Anywhere POD, and there's no duplicate work or anything like that. So, um, so to get started here, I'm here in Anywhere POD here, sharing my screen. I've already connected my account to Canva. If you are not connected to Canva yet, you will see just a connect to Canva button here that you can click on, and it just asks you to approve the connection between your Canva account and Anywhere POD so that we have access to be able to import your designs. So there's kind of three steps or three main features to our Canva integration. One is being able to easily create new designs in Canva at the required dimensions. So previously, you would need to go to the print provider, look up the size of the artwork that's required before you go to Canva and start creating, and then paste that in. And then even more so, if you're doing something that's a large format like a blanket, the blanket dimensions don't fit in Canva. Canva doesn't support designs that are that large. So what we have now, if you come into any of the products in Anywhere POD, so like if I just come to our blankets category here, and if I go to, let's see, let's just go start designing on a blanket here. And I'll close this out for now. Right here, you'll see this option here that says create new design. If I click that, it is going to open up Canva in either the exact dimensions that are required from the POD supplier, or if it needs to do that conversion to be able to manage a large format blanket. When you do large blankets, you have to either divide by 2 or by 3 to be able for it to fit inside of Canva. This create new design is going to open up a new just blank design for you inside of Canva. You can see this one automatically did the conversion for me. So it's at 3250 by 2700, and it has that just taken care of for me. So I don't have to worry about doing that every time. So this is one of the smaller things that this new Canva integration does, but it's just one of those repetitive steps that you normally had to do every single time that now you no longer kind of need to worry about. So if I jump back over here to Anywhere POD, um, kind of the second piece, and I'm kind of going in order of most impactful, right? So like this is a nice to have, but not a deal breaker. So kind of the middle tier, middle step to this is being able to easily import your designs as a PNG file for any of the products without having to download from Canva, right? So for example, if I come in here and let's go take a look at a Shine On product here, and let's go to their acrylic plaques, and we'll just do this square acrylic plaque. If I come to start designing, you'll see now the old way I would upload a PNG here under this upload artwork option or add from my library that's already here. But now what I can do is add a design directly from Canva. So if I click on this add from Canva option, this is going to pull up all of my designs that I have in Canva. The ones I've edited most recently will be at the top. So I've got my square acrylic right here. This is a non-personalized design, so I'm just going to import this one as a PNG. This design does have multiple pages, so you can select what page you want to import. In this case, I just need to do page 1. So I'll leave page 1 selected and select import PNG. And then I have the option here if I want it to be transparent or if I want to leave the background color. In this case with the acrylic, most of the time you're going for a transparent design. So that's what I'm going to do here and say, yes, make it transparent. And that is going to generate the PNG at the right dimensions that are required from that design in Canva, and then automatically import it into Anywhere POD on the product. So just like that, it's here. Everything's set up. I don't have to add files to my computer and do the download and upload and all that extra work. I can just do that straight import, hit create product, and now the product's there and loaded in and is all ready to go for me.
It's amazing.
So a big time saver there.
It's a huge time saver. So I'm just going to add some things. So first of all, I'd love to know who is new to print on demand. If you are, just put like a number 1 in the chat. Just so we know. I mean, like if all of you guys are not new, then I don't want to give you information that you already know. So just give me a 1 if you're new or like feel newish. All right. Thanks, Debbie. Anybody else? Okay, then I will make this quick insert for Debbie. So personalization, if you add personalization to your listings, it's found that customers are 20% more likely to purchase your item. Now, of course, this isn't going to apply to every print-on-demand product because not every print-on-demand product is going to be meant for personalization. But there is a huge opportunity for personalization in your Etsy shop. I'm assuming most of you are Etsy here, but also with Shopify as well. So this is a
Sorry?
huge, let's hear. I think Hillary, you gotta mute yourself there. Oh, okay, sorry. All good now. So this is a huge advantage because in the past it just took so much effort to be able to add this to our shops. So I even told people like um when I first started coaching, people would be like, "Do you do personalization?" I'd be like, "No, it just takes up too much time. Like it just takes so much work to do that's like all I can take care of." Um, so yeah, this is a huge advantage, and it opens up the door as a new seller to be able to do something that is very, very in demand. And this is a great way to set yourself apart and get sales on much earlier than you probably could have done in the past. So Phil said, been in print on demand for 6 years. This Anywhere POD feature is a game changer, equivalent to the announcement of AI in the world of POD. It really is. That's why I've been so excited to talk about it. And in my opinion, it's almost like a must have. Like in the past, there's always like, okay, you got to have this account, this, that. It's like to me, Anywhere POD is now that. It's like you have to have this or you are going to be so much more behind. And honestly, I think it's kind of silly because why would you not do it? Like to pay somebody to do all the tasks that Anywhere POD does now would cost hundreds, if not thousands of dollars a month for a running shop. Yeah, so Phil says it best, like newbies, you are so lucky. And it's true. It's like you have a huge advantage knowing about Anywhere POD right from the beginning. So, so Hillary, thanks for the kind words. You say, I can't help myself. For anyone who isn't already a member of Anywhere POD, I couldn't more highly recommend both Chris and the app. It's life changing, and Chris himself is a real gem. True. All very
Oh,
true.
thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
True. I think everybody is like equally a fan of Chris as they are Anywhere POD. Okay, so I'll stop jabbing. Go ahead, Chris.
No, that's perfect. And to that point as well, I think there's a lot of people that starting out that think, oh, well, I just won't do that, or I'll do it the manual way, or whatever the case may be. But the problem is, one, if you decide like, oh, I just won't do those features right now, like you're going to get lost in the ocean that is Anywhere POD, or sorry, that is Etsy, right? Like there are so many listings, so many different options on Etsy. You have to find those things that are going to help you to just not be another drop in the ocean. And that can be difficult to do sometimes. And when you look at the top performing listings on Etsy, a lot of them are doing similar things to what you're able to do with Anywhere POD, but you're able to do it as a one man shop now instead of having to hire a team of VAs to manage everything for you and to take the time to manually build listings and copy and paste SKUs and do all that stuff that
Yeah.
can just be a nightmare if you're trying to do it by yourself.
Yep. It's true. And another side note too, and then we'll get to what Angela's saying here, is the game for print on demand. It's pretty simple. Like the strategy is very simple. It's you're finding what is in demand and you are listing those products. And so when like you have to test, so many people think that like, oh, I'm so excited to sell XYZ product. I love this. I love this design. I'm so in love with what I'm doing, right? And it's not about you. It's about what other people want because it's other people's money and you have to solve a problem or a pain point for them. So if that's a gift because they have an anniversary coming up, that's a pain point for them. And your product is solving their need. They need a gift to make sure that their wife is happy, right? So they don't have a failing marriage. That's like a real need for people, and you're solving that need. So if you can test products 10 times faster than the average seller, that's a huge advantage. And that is what I'm always telling my students. Like, this isn't about coming up with the best idea in the world and nailing it the first time. It's an iteration game, it's a testing game. If you can celebrate the fact that you are testing 10 times faster than anyone, you're going to be a rock star print on demand shop owner on Etsy or any platform because you have a huge advantage in being able to test ideas out and seeing what people are wanting faster than anybody else. So that's to me like the the big update with Anywhere POD now, moving away just from like personalization's huge because you can add like you can automate that, but now you are like being a ninja tester, and that's the name of this game at the end of the day. So that's a huge advantage. Okay, so Chris, sorry, I really am now done talking.
No, you're good. You're good. That's all good stuff.
So Angela says, could you demo what it's like to push to Etsy or to Shopify?
Yeah, I tell you what, how about I make a personalized product now that I import from Canva, and then we'll kind of show the process of publishing that um, to Etsy as well.
Perfect.
Okay, so next one we're going to do, we'll do a personalized ornament. So if I come over here to our ornaments category, we have a lot of different ornaments in here. Let's go to uh, Printify here that I have some artwork ready for. So we'll use this ceramic ornament here at the top, and I'll just go to start designing. Again, we're going to do our add from Canva feature, but this time down here, we're going to do this Valentine's Day ornament. You can see I have this design set up in Canva with the text fields and everything here. So this time, instead of doing import PNG, I'm going to use the import layers option. So if I select that, that's going to import the entire design from Canva, but it's going to have all of the exact same layers built as I built it in Canva, and it's going to import that into AnywherePOD as an editable template, like as though I originally created it in AnywherePOD itself, right? So you can see all of my text fields here are all set up exactly how I had it in Canva. So all I need to do here is mark the fields as personalized that I want personalized from the customer. We're going to mark this as a circle ornament here at the top, and that's it. We don't have to do any other additional design work or anything in Anywhere POD. It's all already set up for us. So all I need to do now is click on Create Product. This is going to generate the placeholder artwork for us automatically. It's going to generate any of the mockups that are available for us from Printify. And we would want to do the other optimizations that you normally do on a listing, either here or in Etsy, like changing the title and description and your tags. We have a Etsy Analyzer tool that can help with that. I would generate a video here as well, so that there's a video that shows in the search results on Etsy. As you hover over the listing, it'll show and play that video for you. So you want to set up those type of things as well. But as far as the design elements and setting up the personalization and getting everything created, that's all done for us just with a click of a button like that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And just a little tip here too to really make this done in seconds is you really should have a spreadsheet of keywords that you're going after. And so that way when you're doing your upload and you should be batch working this. So this gets done in seconds, and then ultimately you're just going to that spreadsheet and you're just copying and pasting. Because your keyword research should be done well before you're making that design, and you should be testing multiple products with those keywords. So it should be a really simple just copy and paste, and then you're going to do that mock-up, and then it's off. So you can see how if you have your system set up in place, you're really getting down to seconds in creating your listing.
Yeah, exactly. So this import feature also works with our add variants functionality. So if let me see here, got my window moved around. So if we wanted to add another design option for this, so like this is our first Valentine's, works great if it's your first Valentine's, but if you've been married for a while, you can actually add that as an option to this listing as well. So to do that, I can just come here to add variants. And now I can select a product just like I did building a product, but instead of building a new product, it's just going to add those variant options to the existing product they already have created. So when I come in here and go to start designing, we'll add from Canva. I have the same design, but on page 2, I have a different variation of it. So I can select page 2, go to import layers. And this works great as well, talking about spreadsheets and kind of trying to do things in bulk. this like design or phrase variation, I use Chat GPT to get additional phrases. You can add each one as an additional page in Canva, and then easily add those and be able to test multiples very quickly using AnywherePOD. So again, we're just marking these two fields here as personalized. And now when we select update product, instead of creating a new product for us, we can see that's added as a design variation down here at the bottom. You can see my top one here is our first Valentine's Day. The next one is forever my beloved Valentine. So I'll just change my variant field here. This is what's going to actually show up on the drop-down fields in Etsy. So we'll say first Valentine for this one, and this one would be my beloved, like that. And we'll hit save. And now they're going to have the option to be able to select from both of those in Etsy. So I know someone was asking about pushing to Etsy. So let me show you what that looks like real quick when you take a look at this in Etsy.
Can I ask
So to
a
create
real
a
quick
new,
question, real?
yeah, go for it.
Okay,
You bet.
so that was cool. So when you did the variation, was that design page 2 on Canva?
It was, yeah. So let me pull up
Ah, cool.
here in Canva. So this was page one, and then I had page two here. So when I created this, I just duplicated my
Oh.
page, changed out the text, and then I'm just able to add that as a second variation.
Oh, that's so cool. I didn't know that. I knew you could do the variation. I didn't know that it was just like from the second page. So you could just copy that and quickly create the design.
Exactly,
Ah,
without having to do a whole nother design in Canva.
you're so fancy. Look at you.
I have more planned with that to make it even better, but that's
I'm
coming
sure
down the
you
road.
do. I'm sure you do. But that's cool. I like I've seen this actually a few times now and I like still just had an aha moment. That's so cool. Okay.
Yeah, cool, cool. I'm glad I showed it then. I don't know that I actually don't know that I showed that necessarily in some of the calls I did
I don't
yesterday.
yeah, I
So
don't know. But that's
yeah,
really cool.
yeah,
That's super cool. That makes it really easy to like get that variation done the right way and like in
exactly.
organized. That's cool.
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
Sorry. Keep going.
No, you're good. That's awesome. Okay, so we were getting ready to take a look at this in Etsy. So once I have this created, if I want to publish to Etsy or to Shopify, I have a very easy. I've built the product once. I don't need to duplicate it or do anything else fancy with it to be able to publish to Etsy or to Shopify. So here I will just do create new Etsy listing, and that's going to publish this product over to my draft listings in Etsy so I can make any additional changes to it there before I publish it. So if we just select a view on Etsy here, that's going to open up a new tab with that product here in Etsy. And if I go to the variants section, you can see I've got my design here with First Valentine and my beloved set up and ready to go. The only change that I want to do is add personalization here. And I would say enter the names and date you would like on the ornament. And then I always like to put an example here as well and have my example text match what I put on the original design. So let's see what I did for the text. Looks like Tia and George, and then 2025. So the customer is able to see exactly what it is that I'm looking for on that design. I can either save that as a draft now or publish it, and it's set up with a personalization and ready to go. So big time saver there, I think. Does anybody have any questions at all? I have a few other examples I could show, or if you guys have any questions, happy to answer any questions you might have as well.
Yeah, so I'm going to put, if you guys want to play around with this and maybe you don't have a design because you're new, I'm going to drop a link here from Canva to do this. I'm just looking for it. Just give me 1 second.
Sure.
But if you have questions, yeah,
Phil,
jump in. If you're like following along and you're implementing too, and you have a question, feel free to jump in.
Phil said, what about the switch saying show personalization to buyer? I think you're referring to, let me switch my tab again here. I think you're referring to this here, the make personalization optional for the buyer. And most of the time, you don't want that turned on. Sometimes you may want to turn it on depending on what you're doing, but for most personalized listings, you want to leave that toggled off so that the customer is required to fill out that text field on Etsy before completing their purchase. Angela said, talk about time saving. Exactly. That is what we're going for. Very cool. Any other questions at all?
Okay, I just dropped in the link. So if anybody's like, "Oh, I want to get to this right away. Like, I want to try doing personalized and pull the layers in," you have a design now that you can play around with. That's just
Cool.
in the link. So, okay, cool. So, all right, show us some more, Chris.
Cool. Yeah, let's take a look at a blanket. So let me actually pull this one up in Canva here first. Let's see here. Okay, this one here. So this is using the Canva frames. Canva's having an issue here.
My camera was it's at the exact same thing, so I don't know what's going on.
Interesting. Yeah, Canva must be making an update or something. So each one of these images is using a Canva frame to ensure that each image is square and kind of lined up correctly and that whole sort of thing. So the import process kind of holds on to those frames as well and automatically sets it up using our image cropper tool that's inside of AnywherePOD. So if you're selling on Etsy and you want to do something with images, you still have to have the customer send you a Etsy message or an email with the photos that they want on a product like this. But this makes the setup process so much easier. You used to have to download each one of these images individually, which Canva didn't make very easily, and then add them back into AnywherePOD and reset up the whole grid and the whole nine yards. So like this is one of those designs that like we would do a demo on and we would show how to build it in Canva. And then we'd go to AnywherePOD and show how to build it there. And like it would take up one of our entire like Thursday live streams of like close to an hour, right? So that's one of the downsides to this Canva functionality is I'm not sure what we're going to start covering in our live streams now because mostly I was showing you how to design stuff anywhere POD, and now you just click a button and it's already done. So, not sure what we're going to do with that, but let me show you this design here real quick and what that looks like in Anywhere POD. So let's go to custom cat blanket in this case. Let me find our blankets here. So we'll go here to the 60 by 80, go to start designing, add from Canva. Again, that we just opened that design, so it popped it to the top of our list here. This list always shows the designs that you've kind of been into most recently, so you always have the freshest ones at the top. You can search up here if you ever need to find another design, but it'll pop those in for you automatically. So if we go to import layers here, this takes a couple more seconds depending on how many images you're doing. Here we have 9 images. So it's not only downloading all of the artwork, all of the images, all of the crop to shape, but it's also having to kind of perform that crop for us as well. Still, you can see it doesn't take too long and it's all set up and ready for us here. Same thing with the text field as before. We just need to mark that one as personalized. And then we've got all of our images here. If I click on any of these, you will see that's not one of them. Go to this one here. You'll see it is already set to be personalized and set up to use our image cropper and all set up in the right shape and everything for us. So if we need to adjust that shape at all, when it pulls it in, it's just going to crop the center of that image. We don't have the exact changes that you maybe made to the position of the image in Canva. So to get that, what you can do, like on the middle one here, you can see the top of their heads are cut off just a little bit. I can go here and go to Open Cropper Tool. And this is going to open it up where we can kind of adjust that portion of the image that is cropped. and hit select. And that way everything's kind of lined out and looks the way that we need it to. So all of our mockups and everything look correct. So again, that's it. So we didn't need to do anything else to all the individual images. They all imported for us all automatically and everything. All we need to do now is hit create product. And I forgot to select a color here at the top. So we'll hit create on that. And that's going to generate that placeholder artwork for us. And it's also going to generate the mockup for us, all set up and automatically for us. So this was using the crop to shape, doing kind of more simple images. If you do something even that is a little more complicated, so like a popular design coming up is kind of that mom design where you use a frame for the M, a heart for the O, and then an M. So you're kind of spelling the word mom with the images. Those work with AnywherePOD as well. So those will even import and work for you automatically.
I love it. I think it's so funny that you're like this takes a moment because I feel like if somebody were brand new, they would come in and they'd be like, "Oh, this is it takes a moment." But they don't realize like it's nothing. Like in comparison to
Right.
before, like to create something like this and to have to deal with the order of something like this would take a team. Where it's funny how like old and new, it's like when you know the old, you're like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And if you're new, you're like,
Exactly.
oh, like this is just what it is, you know?
Right, right. Yeah, not having to download and reconfigure everything. I mean, literally, you would have to download
Yeah,
all 9 of those images. Like if I was doing this
right,
on the old way, I would literally need to remove each one of these images from my design,
yeah,
remove the text from the bottom, and then reconfigure every single one of those individually back in Anywhere
right.
POD.
Well,
We still made it faster than most of our competition, but like now it's like seconds and it's just
right,
automatically done for you.
right. Well, you'd have to do pictures plus the design plus the personal, like the words of the personalization. I mean,
Right.
there's lots. I mean, 9 images that would be enough to like make you go crazy, but then you're having to really
Uh-huh.
complete the whole thing. So it's really cool.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, okay, Angela asked, what's the difference between creating an Etsy product and setting an Etsy product? I'm not sure what she's asking. Do you understand
Yeah,
that,
so
Chris?
that is this here. So we've got create new
Oh,
Etsy
right there.
listing. That's going to create a brand new listing for you in
Mm-hmm.
Etsy. The difference is with set Etsy listing, if you already have a listing on Etsy that you're actively selling, that is ranked in the algorithm, that you've got sales on, that you don't want to lose all that sales history, but you want to automate that listing with Anywhere POD, you can use this set Etsy listing option and just be able to paste in the Etsy listing ID here, and that will convert your current Etsy listing to work with the product that you just had created in Anywhere POD, so that you're able to move that listing over to Anywhere POD without having to start all over with algorithm and kind of your
Ranking.
ranking juice there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Very cool.
Anyone have any other questions?
Angela says she's confused. So, Angela, if you have an old, let's say you have not used Anywhere POD. So, let's say you're like Phil, who's been in print on demand for 6 years. So, he's going to have a huge catalog of listings. Um, if you have had any sales on those listings, then you have a ranking on Etsy and in their algorithm. If you were just to create a new listing, um, all that ranking would be gone. Like everything that's in the algorithm is gone. So it's important that you don't change a listing on Etsy that is already working because you have it's in the algorithm, like it's indexed. Etsy knows what to do with it. So what Anywhere POD does um, with the set Etsy listing is it will allow you to just connect Anywhere POD with the listing that's already in Etsy. So you're not having to recreate a new listing and try and get that one to sell opposed to the old one. So it's really for people who have previous listings that have never been connected to Anywhere POD and that have had a sales history.
Right. Right. If you're just creating a new listing, you can kind of ignore that
Yeah.
set Etsy listing
Mm-hmm.
button. You don't need to use it for anything. That's just
Exactly.
if you have existing stuff you want to move over to us.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if you have a listing that's done really well, it is actually very critical. And it's a really cool feature that you can connect with Anywhere POD and actually make the changes from Anywhere POD too, because that used to be an old problem where if you wanted to change anything, it was like a big deal and really challenging with integration and like, yeah. Okay, Phil asks, can you repeat the set Etsy listing explanation, please?
Yeah. So you just need to copy the Etsy listing ID from Etsy. So there's a little example URL here. When you go to edit that listing in Etsy, at the end, it'll have just a little string of numbers. You just need to copy that ID out of there and paste it into the field here. So like if I drop one in and hit update, now that has that link to that listing, and now I can update the variants on Etsy, so it'll automatically update to match what I have with Anywhere POD and match the SKUs and match any other settings that I've changed in Anywhere POD. It'll update that listing to match what you have created in Anywhere POD.
Yeah, and usually I recommend for people if they have, yes, it is magic. If you have a big catalog, I would really only focus on, I mean, most people only have 20 listings that actually ever sell in their shop, even with a large catalog. So I would only be looking at those listings that have a history and bring them over to Anywhere POD because most likely the other ones aren't going to change. And so you want to obviously spend your time maximizing finding your bestseller. So that would be my recommendation if you do have a big catalog. Is just to focus on what is working for you already and just bringing that over. And then if you have like a onesie or twosie every once in a while that isn't connected, then you could go do that when you get that sale randomly.
Yep.
Any more questions? So I'm curious to know, did anybody get a chance to do this while we were on the call? Like, has anybody implemented it and tried this already? I'd love to know your thoughts. Like, and what was your big aha moment today? I I know people are writing like really long paragraphs right now, so I'm just
That's the
gonna wait
thing. These
patiently.
these these need the like little dots so you know when someone's
I
typing
know
because
that's true.
there's always a delay between when like you ask a question or ask for something. There's a delay with the, it's a live stream, but there's always a delay. I'm always doing our live streams on Thursday and like, well, any more questions? We're about to sign off. Then I get halfway through signing off and a question pops up.
It is. It's true. So Angela says the Etsy stuff is mind blowing. Hillary says, well, just absorbing. Yeah, it really is mind blowing. Um, and Hillary, this would be my recommendation for you is I know you're just absorbing, but we find that sellers who start using Anywhere POD like as soon as they learn about it are going to be much more successful because you're automating your tasks right from the beginning. And so you'll find too like at first it seems overwhelming because you're like, wow, there's all these cool features. If you create 10 listings, you're going to be an expert in 10 minutes, like in those 10 listings. That's how easy Anywhere POD is. So it seems like maybe a lot just in the first moment or like first time seeing it, but really like you're going to create, like I said, 10 listings and you're going to be an expert. And this is going to, again, put you ahead, make you so much more of a savvy seller, and will allow you to test so much more faster, which will get you to your bestseller faster. So don't be afraid. Like, don't sit on it and be like, oh, this is in the future or this is, there's a lot here. It's like, just create your first listing. Don't even worry about personalization because, again, Anywhere POD isn't about personalization, it's about automation. So just work on creating that first listing and getting in that habit. And then when you get that first spark of inspiration for a personalized listing or you want to do a group listing, for like family vacations or whatever, you're it's just like one more step beyond that, and then you're going to be like, oh, this isn't too bad. You're going to create it again after one listing or two. You're going to be an expert in this, and it's going to be so easy.
Right. There's a lot of different features and a lot of different options. I would kind of just to echo what you said, focus on the simple things first, right? So like we really try to meet you where you are in your journey, right? So if you're somebody new, just first starting out, there's a lot of features here that you may not touch for a little while, right?
Yeah,
And that's perfectly fine. Like our goal is to make it simple enough that if you're just coming in here to create that one-off listing, there's not a whole bunch of other bells and whistles that are in the way. They're kind of just sitting there waiting for you for whenever you're to the point and you feel comfortable with kind of taking that next step in the design. But creating just your initial listing, I mean, that takes, minutes, if not seconds, to be able to
right.
get it set up. If you've got the
Yeah.
design created in Canva, it's a couple clicks and you're off to the races.
Yeah.
So,
And I'd love for you to start here because honestly, if you're just creating the one off listing, let's say you're just creating your first 10 listings, you're not going to touch personalization, you're not going to touch variations because you're like, I don't even know how to design yet. Honestly, still doing those first 10 listings here will be way less frustrating than it will if you're doing it manually. Um,
yep.
so so that's why I'm like start here because again, once you start seeing the growth in your store, you're going to want everything to be in Anywhere POD because you're going to want all your orders in one spot. You're going to want to be able to test your new ideas because eventually creating a design isn't going to be a thought process for you. Like you're just going to be able to do it. You're just going to create the listing and you're not even going to think about those steps. So when you want to do these next things, you're just going to want this all here because it's going to become your central hub. You're going to want everything automated together. So that's why you want to start there.
and
Um,
it's one system to learn instead of
yeah,
multiples.
instead
So
of
when you get to
multiples.
the point that you want to list from multiple providers, instead of having to go learn how do I create a product in Shine On, how do I create a product in Printify, how do I create one, like each system is a little bit different. Instead of having to learn each system individually, you connect them all to Anywhere POD.
Yeah,
You learn how to create a product once, and it works for any of the suppliers that we have available.
it's a huge advantage. So, okay, my timer is going off on this video. So, there's two more questions. It says, do you have any videos on how to price your products? That's a little bit more of a conversation that's I don't think we can have right this very second. I do have that in my course, so if you're interested in it, of course, reach out to me and I'll help you with that. And it says, can you push to your own website? So this does work for Shopify as well. So if you have a Shopify shop, then of course you're not going to be pushing to Etsy. You're going to push to Shopify, and it works more or less the same. So you've learned, like I said, you guys are all experts in Anywhere POD now. You got this. So, yeah, so thank you guys so much for spending your morning with us. Really appreciate it because I know everyone's busy. People have work, kids, they're trying to grow their shops. Thank you so much. If you haven't joined Anywhere POD, you can use coupon code Canva Anna. So CANVA, then my name ANNA. It's in the chat as well. And you get your first month free, or you can apply it to get a month free off of the year or the annual membership. Um, and yeah, so join because it's awesome and it's such a great way to automate your pro on demand business and make things a million times easier for you. So, Chris, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, that's it. Just thanks everybody for joining. If you guys get in and you do have any questions, always feel free to reach out to our customer support.
Yep.
When you log into your account, there's a contact us in the bottom right. And
Yes.
we are more than happy to help answer any questions that you might have and help you get back on track if you do run into anything. So always
Yes.
feel free to reach out to us. And thanks again for taking the time to join us today.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys. Bye.
Bye. Thanks.